There comes a moment in every person's life when a quiet realization begins to rise in the mind, a realization that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. It is the moment when the comfortable story you have been telling yourself begins to fall apart. The story that success is mostly luck. The story that powerful people were somehow born different. The story that someday, some magical day, everything will finally fall into place. But life rarely works that way. And deep down, you already know it, because the truth about success is not soft, comforting, or convenient. The truth about success is demanding. It requires something that most people are not willing to give. Responsibility. Total responsibility. The moment you accept full responsibility for your life is the exact moment your real power begins to return. No partial responsibility. No, the kind where you accept credit for the good things but blame the world for the bad ones. Real responsibility means standing face to face with your life exactly as it is, and understanding that the direction of your future is not decided by your past, your circumstances, or the opinions of others. It is decided by the way you think. This may sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful truths ever discovered about human achievement. Every great accomplishment in history began as a thought in someone's mind, a thought that refused to disappear, a thought that grew stronger every time doubt tried to silence it, a thought that eventually became a vision, and that vision became action, and that action slowly, patiently, stubbornly became reality. Look at the lives of the people who changed the world. Thomas Edison failed again and again while trying to invent the light bulb. Hundreds of experiments ended in failure. Some say it was thousands, but Edison did not see failure the way most people do. When someone asked him about his repeated mistakes, he calmly said he had simply discovered thousands of ways that did not work. That mindset alone separated him from the millions of people who quit the moment something becomes difficult. Henry Ford once faced bankruptcy and ridicule before the automobile became common. Many experts of his time insisted that the automobile was just a temporary trend, that horses would always dominate transportation, but Ford had already seen the future in his mind. And once a person truly sees something in their mind, the world eventually begins to catch up. This is the part people rarely understand. Success does not start with resources. It does not start with connections. And it certainly does not start with perfect conditions. Success begins with belief. No weak belief, no hopeful belief, but a deep, stubborn conviction that refuses to disappear even when evidence seems to disagree. Most people never develop that kind of belief, and the reason is simple. Doubt is easier. Doubt feels safer. Doubt protects you from disappointment because it quietly lowers your expectation. But doubt also quietly destroys your potential. Every time you repeat a thought like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe success is not meant for someone like me. Maybe I should just settle. Those thoughts slowly sink deeper into your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is powerful beyond measure. It records your repeated thoughts and begins shaping your behavior around them. It influences the risks you take, the opportunities you notice, the actions you avoid. In other words, it quietly builds your reality. This is why two people can start with the same circumstances and end up living completely different lives. One trains their mind to look for possibility. The other trains their mind to look for limitation. One believes growth is always possible. The other believes their situation defines their destiny. And over time, these beliefs grow into habits. Those habits shape actions. Those actions shape results. Then the results reinforce the original belief. It becomes a powerful cycle, and most people remain trapped in that cycle their entire lives. But a small group of individuals eventually break free. They begin to question the limits that society has quietly placed on them. They begin to realize that many of the boundaries they accepted were never real. They were simply ideas repeated often enough to feel like truth. The moment you understand this, everything changes. Because you begin to see the world differently. Obstacles stop looking like walls. They start looking like tests. Challenges stop looking like punishment. They begin to look like training. And failure stops looking like defeat. It begins to look like feedback. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary learned this lesson at some point. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Walt Disney was once fired from a newspaper job because his editor believed he had no creativity. Imagine that. The man who created one of the most imaginative entertainment empires in history was once told he lacked imagination. If Disney had accepted that opinion as truth, the world would have lost an entire universe of creativity. But he refused to let someone else's belief become his identity. That is one of the most powerful decisions any human being can make, because the world will always have opinions about you. Some people will doubt your vision. Some will laugh at your ambition. Some will quietly hope that you fail, simply because your courage reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. But their opinions only become powerful if you accept them. Your mind is the final authority, and the moment you begin protecting your mind the way a gardener protects fertile soil, your life begins to change. A gardener does not allow weeds to grow freely. He removes them. In the same way, you must become careful about the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. Negative thoughts will appear. That is natural, but you do not have to let them stay. You can replace them with stronger thoughts, more focused thoughts, more courageous thoughts. And as those thoughts repeat, they begin to reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes to succeed. You begin seeing yourself as someone who is becoming successful. This shift in identity is incredibly powerful, because once you believe something about yourself deeply enough, your actions begin aligning with that belief automatically. You become more disciplined, more focused, more patient. You stop looking for shortcuts and start building real progress. And progress, real progress, is rarely dramatic in the beginning. It is small, almost invisible, on better decision, on productive morning. 1 hour of focused work, one extra step when you feel like quitting. Individually, these moments may seem insignificant, but together they create momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human achievement. Once momentum begins building, your confidence grows, your energy grows, your clarity grows, and the path that once looked impossible begins to look achievable. This is why consistency often defeats talent. Talent may start strong, but consistency finishes strong. The people who eventually win are not always the most gifted. They are usually the most persistent. They show up when motivation disappears. They continue when progress feels slow. They stay committed long after others have walked away. And slowly, quietly, the compound effect begins working in their favor. Weeks turn into months, months turn into years. And one day the world suddenly calls them an overnight success. But nothing about it was overnight. It was built in thousands of unseen moments of discipline. Moments where they chose growth over comfort, faith over fear, action over hesitation. This is the truth about success that many people avoid. It demands patience. It demands persistence. It demands a level of self-belief that sometimes feels unreasonable. But if you are willing to embrace that challenge, something incredible begins to happen. You start changing. Know just your results, your identity. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. Your focus becomes sharper. Your resilience becomes unbreakable. And eventually, the life you once imagined stops feeling like a dream. It starts feeling like the natural result of the person you have become. Because success is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is the outcome of the daily decisions you make over and over again. And when those decisions are guided by purpose, discipline, belief, and relentless action, the future begins to open in ways you never imagined possible. This is the truth about success. Nobody wants to hear. It will test you. It will stretch you. It will demand more patience than you think you have. But if you refuse to surrender, if you continue moving forward even when progress feels invisible, then something remarkable will eventually happen. The person you once hoped to become will quietly become the person you are. The moment you truly understand this, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting. You stop hoping that life will somehow change on its own. And you begin to realize that the direction of your future is not determined by chance. It is determined by choice. Every day, every hour, every moment, you are making choices. Most of them feel small, insignificant even. But success is not created by one giant decision. It is built from thousands of small ones. The decision to wake up when your mind begs you to sleep longer. The decision to focus when distractions surround you. The decision to continue working when progress feels painfully slow. These are the moments that separate ordinary lives from extraordinary ones, and yet most people overlook them. They search for some secret formula, some hidden strategy, some perfect opportunity. But the real secret has never been hidden. It has simply been ignored. Success demands discipline. Know the kind of discipline that appears occasionally when motivation strikes, but the quiet discipline that shows up every day whether you feel inspired or not, because motivation is temporary. Emotion is unpredictable, but discipline creates stability. It gives you the ability to move forward, even when your feelings are pulling you backward. And this is why so many people struggle. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until conditions are perfect. They wait until fear disappears. But fear never fully disappears. Even the most accomplished individuals in history felt fear. Henry Ford once said that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. That statement holds a deeper meaning than most people realize, because belief influences action, and action creates results. If you believe something is impossible, your mind begins searching for evidence that confirms that belief. It highlights obstacles. It magnifies risks. It whispers reasons to quit before you even begin. But if you believe something is possible, your mind begins searching for solutions. It notices opportunities. It becomes creative. It becomes resourceful. This is the invisible power of belief. It changes the way your brain processes reality. And when that shift happens, your entire approach to life changes. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, this is too difficult, you begin saying, this is training. This is training, because every challenge carries a lesson. Every obstacle carries information, and every failure carries a message that can guide you closer to success. If you are willing to listen, consider the life of Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most respected leaders in history, Lincoln faced repeated defeats, business failure, political losses, personal heartbreak. At many points, it would have been easy to assume that success simply was not meant for him. Many people would have stopped trying long before his story ever reached its defining chapter. But Lincoln possessed something that cannot be taught easily: endurance. The ability to continue walking forward when the path is covered in uncertainty. That kind of endurance does not come from comfort. It comes from purpose. When your purpose is strong enough, temporary setbacks lose their power over you. They become part of the process, because every meaningful journey requires resistance. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil, in darkness, in pressure, in isolation. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary is unfolding. The seed is preparing to break open, not because the environment is comfortable, but because growth requires pressure. The same principle applies to human potential. Your greatest growth often begins in moments when life feels uncertain, when things are difficult, when progress feels invisible. These are the moments when your character is quietly being built. And character is far more important than temporary results. Results can disappear. Money can vanish. Opportunities can come and go. But character stays with you. It determines how you respond to every challenge that life places in front of you. It determines whether you retreat or advance, whether you complain or adapt, whether you surrender or continue building. And the people who achieve remarkable things almost always share one powerful trait. They refuse to quit. No, because they never feel discouraged. No, because they never feel exhausted, but because their commitment is stronger than their emotions. This is what resilience truly means. It is not the absence of struggle. It is the decision to continue despite it. And the beautiful truth about resilience is that it grows stronger every time you use it. Each time you push through discomfort, your mind becomes tougher. Each time you overcome doubt, your confidence becomes stronger. Each time you rise after failure, your belief becomes deeper. And slowly, the challenges that once seemed overwhelming begin to look manageable. This is how transformation happens. Now, in one dramatic moment, but through a series of quiet victories over your own limitations, victories that no one else may notice, but victories that slowly reshape the person you are becoming. Because success is not only about achieving external goals, it is about becoming someone capable of achieving them. The discipline, the focus, the patience, the resilience, these qualities are the real rewards of the journey. And once you possess them, success becomes far more predictable because you are no longer relying on luck. You are relying on the strength of your habits. Habits are powerful. They shape your days. Your days shape your years. And your years shape your destiny. Most people underestimate the power of daily habits because the results are not immediate. A single productive day may not change your life, but hundreds of productive days will. A single moment of discipline may not feel significant, but thousands of disciplined choices will reshape your future. This is the law of accumulation. Small actions repeated consistently create massive outcomes over time. The challenge is that the rewards often arrive later than the effort, and this delay discourages many people. They work hard for a short period. They expect immediate results. When those results do not appear quickly, they assume their effort is useless, so they stop. But the people who eventually succeed understand something different. They understand that progress is often invisible in the beginning, just like the seed growing beneath the soil. They trust the process even when the evidence is not yet visible, and that trust allows them to continue long enough for the results to appear. This patience is rare, but it is also incredibly powerful, because patience combined with consistent action creates unstoppable momentum. And once that momentum begins building, the world starts responding differently. Opportunities appear where there were once obstacles. People begin to notice your dedication. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open. No, because of luck, because your growth has made you ready for them. And when that moment arrives, you finally understand something that once seemed mysterious. Success was never hiding from you. It was waiting for you to become the person capable of holding it.